Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to The Walk. Today is Thursday, September 7th, and we're continuing to study this number 40. We've already talked about several places that it shows up, that anytime you see the number 40 in the Bible, it means that it's a time of trial and testing and preparation for whatever is coming next. So as we continue to look at this article in Bible Study Tools, if you want to study, look for it, you just type in Bible Study Tools article, the number 40. It will come right up. So the number 40 also shows up in a lot of prophecy. The prophet Jonah powerfully warned ancient Nineveh for 40 days that its destruction would come because of its many sins. The prophet Ezekiel was commanded by God to first lay on his left side for 390 days. Keep that in mind, that's over a year. He was then told to lay on his right side. He laid on 390 days for the kingdom of Israel, and then on his right side for 40 days for the kingdom of Judah. This act represented in years the length each kingdom would suffer correction for their disobedience to God. Jesus, just days before his crucifixion in 30 AD, prophesied the total destruction of Jerusalem. 40 years after his crucifixion, the entire Roman Empire destroyed the city and burned its beloved temple to the ground. So 40 years later, after the crucifixion, the temple was burned. Then there's even more information about the number 40. It is equal to 2 times 2 times 2. 2 is a prime number, so 2 times 2 is 4. Multiply that by 2, you get 8. And then you multiply that by 5, which is also a prime number, you get the number 40. In the Gematria, the value of 40 is represented by the 13th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is Mem, and it is represented in the Greek alphabet by the letter Mu. We're going to look at what Mem means probably tomorrow. Caleb, who was 40 years old, and Joshua were 2 of the 12 spies that Moses sent to the promised land. He and Joshua were among the only 2 that had the faith to encourage the people to take the promised land. 45 years later, he requested from Joshua the land he was promised for obeying the Lord. He received part of the hill country, which included the cities of Hebron and Debir. King Ahaz ruled over the kingdom of Judah from 735 to 715 BC, died when he was 40 years old. God's law allowed a wrongdoer in certain cases to be beaten with 40 stripes as part of their punishment. Later on, the Jews changed that to the 39 stripes, and that was to not exceed the amount that's in Deuteronomy 25:3. The Apostle Paul was scourged 5 times by the Jews for preaching the gospel. So he received this 5 times. And this one's really interesting. I had no idea that this was a true fact. I had to look it up and really make sure that it was true. The Bible was written by 40 different people. There were 32 writers of the Old Testament and 8 writers of the New Testament. Put 32 plus 8 together and you get 40. All of that is there to instruct us through those trials and prepare us for what we are being called to do. So we've got to be aware that this number of 40 is so significant. Tomorrow we're going to look at the letter Mem and how significant that is and how it ties to the Holy Spirit and Jesus. Have a wonderful day. God bless, and keep walking the walk.